I was at an event earlier this week here in Austin, and this idea came up that I cannot stop thinking about. My name is Katie, and it was an event for Chris Williamson, who has the podcast Modern Wisdom. There was one idea that he mentioned that really stuck out to me. The phrase that he said was, "What we need is a parasympathetic David Goggins." Meaning, for all of the ambitious, type A, creative people who want to design their own life and make their own path, they want to accomplish all kinds of big things. He was basically saying that nobody is there teaching us how to rest. All of the content that we hear is David Goggins content. If you haven't heard of David Goggins, he is a Navy SEAL who's written a book that is all about discipline and willpower and all of the masculine principles to achieve. It's like willpower, grind, hustle, discipline, accomplish, which is very masculine in nature. So when he says this thing, parasympathetic David Goggins, I'm sitting there and I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's just a woman in alignment. Pretty sure that's just a woman in alignment. And as funny as that is, it really made me think about the demand for this conversation about rest and coming from a place where the nervous system is in a parasympathetic state, where it's not in fight or flight, it's in rest and digest, and you're coming from a place of peace and knowing and flow. And the more I thought about this idea, like, wow, I wish we could have a parasympathetic David Goggins, the more I was like, that's all of the content that I'm making. I really thought about how much I want to talk about creating your life and expressing yourself from a place of flow and ease and not forcing. And also just my story of having an extremely sensitive nervous system, which is a superpower in many ways. And it also has forced me to learn how to get a lot of things done without extreme willpower, extreme motivation, extreme amounts of energy, or extreme force. So when I say that's what a woman in alignment is, I'm not talking about men versus women. I'm not talking about gender. I'm talking about principles. There's a masculine principle and there's a feminine principle. And the difference between the two is everything you know already. Masculine is more aggressive, forward, leading, pushing, forcing. Feminine is receiving, creating, flowing, feeling, intuiting. And it takes a balance of both to have things really work and function well. Sometimes the masculine principle takes the lead and creates structure and the rigidity of discipline. Sometimes the feminine principle takes the lead, and that is where creativity, intuition, connection, all of those things come in. So my unpopular opinion, or an opinion that seems impossible in the current climate of achievement, progress, and productivity culture, is that you really can build all of these things in your life that you dream of and maintain a baseline of peace. And to do them by drawing things toward you instead of forcing and hitting friction all the time and feeling really stressed like it's all up to you. So that's some of the background worldview behind a lot of these discussions that I'm having about self-expression and communication, intuition, living vividly. It's this idea that the feminine principles are really useful, and it's not about being a man, it's not about being a woman, it's about having access to the tools of coming from the feminine where it's useful and balancing that with everything we know about these masculine principles of productivity that we're so familiar with. So if that's something that sounds amazing and sounds great, please let me know. Please subscribe to your resident going for it as the parasympathetic David Goggins over here. Not that I'll ever be anything close to a Navy SEAL of femininity, but I think that's an incredible tagline, right? Like, what will that even look like? I'm going to find out. And I hope that you enjoy coming along with me.